Hello and welcome to another episode of Andy's Chomping at the Bit, brought to you by Big Andy Media, the official sponsor of every Andy's Chomping at the Bit Friday episode. So today's episode is going to be on adversity. And the reason I chose adversity was, I think it doesn't get talked about enough. A lot of people focus on, don't get me wrong, the positives are great, but people, when they do talk about adversity, they talk about so much of the negative. They focus on the moment, not on after the moment. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'll try focusing more on the after the moment, because if we're going on strictly, if we're trying to go for the biggest moments of my adversity, it's already kind of well documented as far as during the active addiction, during jail. So I'm not going to go down that road. It's already known at this point. So I'm going to focus more on more recent history, and things that more people can probably relate to. Not saying people can't relate to the active addiction or incarceration, but there's a lot of moments in everyday life that we get hit with adversity. So I'm going to hit that right now. So the example I'm going to go with is this past spring. I was starting to look for alternative ways of income aside from, at the time, my jingle writing company. And so I started to delve into, tech jobs. I got the background, both education and experience for it. So I applied to some IT jobs, and as luck would have it, I got a response back from District Health Department 10 here in the Ludington area, and so I did an interview with them, and then I hadn't heard from them in a while. It was probably almost a month before I heard back from them, and they called and they gave me a second interview. So I went. I had to go to Cadillac, but that was okay. I went to Cadillac. I had an interview. Went really well. Literally the next morning, I got a call for a third interview. So great. This with HR. So I go there, and I'm all the way through the process. I'm being honest with them on everything. Everything they ask, I give them an honest answer to the best of my ability. And so, long story short, I actually got offered the job, which was pretty exciting news at the time. It was stable income, steady income, and that's what I was really looking at that point. I was looking at stability. That was my focus. But the job was offered to me contingent upon references and and background check. And so I was confident on the references. I gave them my best friend. I gave them my therapist. I gave them another really good friend in the area. But then for the background check, I disclosed, I was honest with them that, I had a previous record. I had felonies. And so I described it to them. I told them which counties. I gave them the rundown that it was, most of them were, at least the felonies, were retail fraud. I also mentioned that, the joyriding misdemeanor and the cocaine usage. And I also explained to them that I had turned myself for treatment to get help for my addiction. And after getting out of treatment, I mentioned that I had turned myself in to face the mistakes of my past, which was a lot of them, and that I continued to get help when I was incarcerated in Ottawa County mainly. The other ones didn't really have much resources available. So I was able to better myself even during that time, and I gave them my clean time, which is really right around the corner, September 7th. But long story short, about a week later, I got a call back from this gal from HR for them, and she was very friendly, very polite, and she, you know, she wished me well, and was, you know, basically said she was proud of me for being honest with them, and for what I had done to stay clean in my life. But ultimately, the past was the number of retail frauds, the recency of the charges was just too many red flags for them, and so they rescinded the offer, and I'm not upset with them actually about it. Even in the moment, I was a little bit shocked by it, because I was really I mean, it was to the point I had the offer, so I started already. I was looking at, I was budgeting, getting everything prepared, uh, but it's not what came to be. And so, fortunately, this is where it paid off that I'd went to treatment, and that I had spent immense amount of time working on myself, not just on my recovery, but my mental health, my growth in general, and so the awareness that I had developed, it helped me in that moment, and this is where the learning to cope really hits, um, because I was able to step back and put things in perspective. They did offer me the job. They offered me the job based on who I am today, based on my qualifications, and that's amazing, because the only thing that stopped me was the mistakes of the past, and I can live with that, because that means that they think that the person I am today was good enough for that job, and I'm not mad at them for not offer, for rescinding the offer, because they don't know more than what they saw in the 3 interviews. And being IT, it'd be around a lot of expensive tech equipment, dealing around the servers. That in itself, I can understand their worries, so that they don't, it wouldn't have much street value, but I understand their thought process on that. So I didn't get upset at them for that. I was, like I said, they offered me, and I was grateful in that. And I took it as a sign. And so this is where, some people look at it as, everyone has their own viewpoint on if things happen for a reason. I personally like to think so. Even this is where the crazy part, and people can disagree with me on this, is fine. Even bad things happen for a reason. And so one of the reasons is gratitude. It's not a fun one to say, because when we lose someone or when something bad happens, last thing we want to be told is, well, maybe it happened for gratitude. But bear with me. This is how I see it. I mean, it is. It makes you appreciate the moments you have, the moments you had. You take things less for granted after something happens. But the other side of it is when adversity strikes, when bad things happen, gives us the opportunity to grow. We learn from the past, and so that's what I've gained the most out of this was, and it gave me a chance to go another course. So one of the things I was struggling with leading up was what route I wanted to go. I knew that I wanted to do stuff that was creative. I knew that I didn't want to abandon jingle writing, but I also had started looking into other things I wanted to do. I really started working with animation software, and I got really good at it. I still am really good. I'm getting better even. But I didn't want to abandon that, because I loved the creative side, and I have these great ideas, but I wanted stability. I wanted safe. And by getting that job rescinded, that offer rescinded, it was really the final movement that pushed me. That was like, hey, this is happening for a reason. This is where you invest in yourself. This is where they believed in you enough to offer you the job. The background prevented them from being able to hire you. But if I create my own job, if I create Big Andy Media, there's no part of my past that can stop me. What happens with Big Andy Media is based on what I do today and what I do going forward. I can live with that. I can do that. Will I have bumps along the road? Yeah. I've already had quite a few. And I'm okay with that. It's been a very, very fun journey. Even during the tough moments, it's been fun, really. Um, the grand scheme of things. And so, yeah, there's stressful moments. But I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be doing this. I would have never started my podcast back up if they didn't rescind the offer, for one. I would have never created Big Andy Media. I still would have had the jingle writing. I still would have been talking about someday doing a animated show. But I would have never taken the time to invest in myself. I would have never taken the time to learn more of the business side of things and learning to grow up to that point. I would have just kind of, pipe dream, and it never would have been anything more than a dream. So this route definitely isn't as stable as far as financially. But once again, that's okay. I don't need to be rich. I need something, but I don't need to be rich, and that's because I'm not doing this for that. I'm not doing, I don't even need the fame. If I was able to help people with someone else literally saying the exact things I'm saying right now, I'd be fine with that. The podcast is more therapeutic for me than it is any kind of business venture. The real business side of it is the soon-to-be short comedies and animation, as well as the music side of things. That's where the true business goes. But I would have never invested in myself at this extent. I would have never went all in, just push all the chips and go, okay, this is where I'm going to go. No matter how good or bad it is, I'm going in. I'm going to learn. I might learn that it was a poor choice. You never know. But I'm going to learn. And then I'm going to get up. I'm going to modify what I did. And I'm going to keep going. That's the amazing thing about it. And I wouldn't have done this had I not had that job rescinded. It put things in perspective for me. And it's really driven me quite a bit. It's helped to add structure to me in my life. So I'm grateful for that. So that's where adversity actually, it benefited my life. I chose to see things differently, and by doing that, it helps me move forward. It helps me see things as it was an opportunity. Opportunity for growth. And that's the other thing about adversity, Like I said, you get the gratitude. It can push you in a direction that you might have not otherwise went. It gives you that extra courage, what could be. And then there's so much learning possibilities with it. And it's not a light switch. You can't just simply flick it on and all of a sudden, yay, now I can, I now see that when bad things happen. No, it even for me today, I still have moments, especially when it first happens. It's hard for you to just step back when the emotions are high. But I'm getting better at it. And the better I get, the easier it is for me to cope. And I don't put a timeline on it either, but it tends to go quicker. I use my resources. I use my support around, throughout the community. I use my support from long-lasting friends, professional support. And I'm able to get through it. And that's the big thing. I get through it. I rise up. I grow. I get stronger. I don't hold the past with regret. And that is such a relief, too. You screw up. Something bad happens. Don't beat yourself up over it. You learn from it. And you can keep going. The past has already happened. We can't go back in time. And if you did go back in time miraculously and change the past, guess what? You lose all these lessons you learned from those mistakes. Those lessons you learned to make you who you are today. The good and the bad, but I really want to focus on the good here because there's so much good that comes from those struggles of the past. So that's my take on adversity. Also, I want to, before I wrap up, Andy's chomping at the bit, I do want to mention that we have a Singing for a Cause Request It virtual live performance that will be on Sunday, this Sunday, and it'll be on the first and third Sunday of every month going forward, where we spotlight a charity, and I will be funding for them. One of the ways is through the Request It virtual live performance, where you'll be able to make a donation or tip, however you want to look at it, and then you request a song for that. And it'll be from 11 to 1. And with that request, I'll play it. And half the money will go to the charity. The other half will go to Big Andy Media. And if the request of songs is greater than the time frame of 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., the show will still end at that time, but I will go beyond that, and I will record the remaining requests, and I will post them on bigandymedia.com. And I'll also, if you desire, when you reach out to me, I can also email any people that made a request after that point, and I can email you a copy of the additional performances. So, like I said, half of that money will go to the charity. Also on bigandymedia.com, under the Singing for a Cause page, there is my original album that I released, music album, and 100% of all the sales for that will go towards the month's charity, which this coming month, September, is Save the Music Foundation. So every penny of my former album will go towards Save the Music Foundation for September. And it's a pay what you want. So if you want to pay, if you want to pay $1 for a song, or if you want to pay, $2 for the album, that's your choice. It's for charity, so and it's digital copy, so it's not like there's a lot of overhead costs. You can pay what you want. If you want to pay $20, you pay $20. If you want to pay $2, you pay $2. But it goes to a good cause, and every month that's going to change as far as the Spotlight charity. But the album will still be there, and the 100% part will still carry over. It's just through September goes to Save the Music Foundation. And I'm really looking forward to this. This is a great opportunity for me to give back, more than just simply sharing on a podcast. I can actually directly make an impact on various charities and hit multiple causes. Like I said, Save the Music is one that really inspired me, and because I had a great experience with music. Middle school, 6th grade, was when I first really got into music. I had a great middle school choir teacher, and before that, I didn't know I could sing. Before that, no one knew I could sing because I didn't sing. But she sparked the interest in music, and then it grew even through high school to the point where, for a while, I actually had it as a career. And I went to Mona Shores High School, or Mona Shores in general, and we had still have there, one heck of a performing arts program, and a choir program that's one of the best in the state, and arguably one of the best public schools for performing, especially choir, in the country, one of the better ones. So I was very grateful at the opportunities I had through that, and there's a lot of schools that don't have those opportunities. There's a lot of schools that don't have a music program at all, and that's where the Save the Music Foundation comes in, through grants, and make it possible for these schools, whether it be instruments, music education resources for the teachers, music technology. It's just amazing what they offer, and to help these schools, often the schools that are underfunded. So that's why they're going to be September. And going forward, I have a lot of other charities that I'm in the works with. So we'll say at a later time what October will be. But anyway, that is everything I got for you today on Andy's Chomping at the Bit. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Hope you have a great weekend too. And like I said, Sunday, 11 to 1. It's going to be a great performance. I'm actually working on the song catalog right now, so you guys will know what you can request from. So have a great day. I'll see you also on Monday and Wednesday for Daily Biscuits. So take care.